You're watching Your Money Live.
Hollywood heavyweight Mark become a key investor in Aussie fitness chain F45. Famously fit star has become a minority shareholder in the company, which is embarking on a huge global expansion. F45's head of revenue, Luke Armstrong, does join us now in the studio. Luke, thank you very much for being with us. Now, Mark Wahlberg heading into the business, very exciting times. First, what are you planning to use that money to do? Expand globally?
Yeah, well, I mean, we see that we're really just getting started for all of our success to date. We're breaking into new markets. We're now in 40 new countries around the world, and every move just confirms that this is not a phenomenon confined to Sydney's eastern suburbs, which is where we hail from. This is very much a global phenomenon. People want that community-based functional training that delivers results, and you know, we're counting on this investment to help us double down on that. So more investment in refining new products, developing the brand, and of course marketing with the likes of Mark on board.
How did that partnership or that investment come about with Mark Wahlberg?
Look, it was really organic. Mark first crossed paths with us as a user, so he was training with us, and just fell in love with...
Just as his local F45?
Yeah, well, we have a second headquarters in Los Angeles, and our presence in the US is growing. LA is our US home, and so our presence there is great. He came in to train at our Hollywood studio and just wanted to be more involved. This then developed into a conversation about possible investment, and here we are today. He's now a shareholder.
I understand that you've been looking for a strategic partner for quite some time, a couple of years even. So why did it take so long, and what was so special about Mark Wahlberg in the end?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's certainly the case that this part of the sector is very interesting to investors. Those people who understand it really know that this is part of a broader... So, once again, it just comes back to this being the very beginning of more development in this space. Yeah, we were adamant that we partner with somebody who really understood that. Mark clearly has a very good understanding of fitness and health. He's become synonymous with working out. You just need a casual look at his Instagram profile to see that. And of course, he's also got great business acumen, so it's great to be able to have a business conversation with him as well.
Yeah, because he's got very kind of varied investments in health and fitness inspired kind of
Correct,
areas,
supplements, apparel, water, and now Fitness Network.
And famously gets up at 2:30 in the morning to train sometimes.
Correct,
over
the 4 a.m.
which I find hard to believe.
I'm going to struggle.
I mean, he's sounding like Superman at that point.
Look, do you advocate for a 2:30 a.m. start for workouts?
Hey, I did 2:30 a.m. starts for about 5 years. I do not advocate that for anyone, but yeah. There you go. It's interesting because you're selling about 50 franchises a month. I think you're expecting even bigger numbers towards the end of the year. Is that right? Is it a case that you can expand too quickly? How do you manage that expansion so that it's not unsustainable to the...
Yeah, I mean, this sort of hyper-growth does need to be managed carefully. It's fantastic to be the beneficiary of it, but look, we go to great care to ensure that our franchise network is protected. The rights that we afford our franchisees are exclusive area rights. We have largely developed Australia. We're nearing 600 franchise territories, which I believe puts us at #1 in the country. But where we're starting to see growth is in the larger markets that offer substantial potential, markets such as the US, Canada, the UK, even mainland China and India, would you believe?
Okay, so you're saying Australia is basically saturated now?
Yeah, in terms of territory development, for the time being... So this
protects, you know, another F45 can't open up X kilometres down the road, or, I mean, what is that? Correct.
So franchisees are actually afforded the right to potentially develop another location inside their territory against anybody else coming in.
Doing it. Gotcha.
Right.
Yep.
It's interesting, isn't it? So you're talking about this being such a fast-growing area broadly in Australia and around the world. It also means it's a fast-changing area. What do you think about the competition that you see popping up? Different sorts of workouts that are pretty specific, have a bit of a cult following. Do you see any concern around that?
Look, it's certainly the case that competition is intensified in this sector, and we could never possibly lay claim to being the first to deliver a 45-minute workout. But we were very particular when we built the product on day one that we would not align with a particular methodology or a particular piece of equipment. Essentially, at its bare bones, an F45 studio is a room that caters to 27 people who are training at reasonable intensity within 45 minutes. So on one day it might be a cardio-inspired workout, the next day it might be combat, the next day it might be resistance workout. We're very agnostic when it comes to train and the equipment that we use. So we know that that puts us at a competitive advantage because clearly the fitness industry, when you look historically, is synonymous with fads. We remember Tybo, 6-minute abs, you know, spinning. To our mind, these are dangerous to align with because at some point the market will wake up and say, you know what, we don't want to just sit on a bike and do a one-dimensional workout. We want to go and do, you know, sprinting or calisthenics or resistance. So we're very, very fluid in that regard. And on the business side, our franchise operating model is inexpensive to set up. It's very simple to run, and it's highly profitable. So we know that as long as the business platform continues to perform for our franchisees, we have a very bright future ahead.
People who scroll through Instagram and other social media will be familiar with the types of photos that people take at F45. Now, back to Mark Wahlberg, he's got a huge social media following. Is that a conscious part? I think that there's a future strategy in, you know, getting some of his very, very famous mates on board with F45?
Look, without doubt. I mean, the investment was first and foremost driven by business, but absolutely, Mark brings a huge profile, a global profile. There is a lot of fit with us being a global brand. He's been very successful in both his Hollywood career and also in his business investment. So there's a passion for fitness and a passion for business. Key to marketing our brand certainly has been social media. The boom that we see in wellness and fitness owes a lot, I believe, to Instagram and Facebook because it lends itself visually to those sorts of media. And no doubt Mark's considerable profile and presence on those channels bodes very well for us. Not to mention his, you know, the circles that he moves in, you know, the sorts of celebrity athletes. You know, a lot of them are into fitness. A lot of them have no issue publicising that, and when they do that, we as a brand benefit and our franchisees benefit as well. Yeah,
so certainly some benefit there from the scale. I mean, this deal is reportedly valued the company in the hundreds of millions of dollars, I think north of 600 million by one estimate. Does that mean, because of what he's bringing to the table, you know, that's I guess not a full valuation because potentially he gets a bit of a discount because of all this good he's going to end up doing the company?
Well, look, clearly both he and we believe that there is substantial upside to the valuation that the company receives today. You know, the last couple of years have seen our revenues grow by compound average growth of about 130% year on year. So, you know, we are in a hyper-growth phase financially. And as I said earlier, you know, we have every confirmation in these markets that we're operating that that this shows no sign. You know, he wouldn't be buying in now if he didn't see a substantial upside in the years to come, and we share that view.
Yeah. Look, do you, final question here, do you have to work out a lot when you work for, when you're the Chief Revenue Officer at F45? Do you have to go several times a day? What's the guilt like in the executive suite?
Yeah, look, I believe so. I certainly do, and, you know, we expect that of our franchisees as well. Yeah, you have to be a believer, no doubt, if you're going to sell it.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Luke Armstrong, Chief Revenue Officer at F45. All the best. Well, get your wallets ready. We're checking out the biggest